the look?
I think I'm gonna wildly shift gears here. So mine is that Chuck Yeager died earlier this week, and kind of one of heroes who broke all sorts of aviation records and things like that. He was the first person to break the sound barrier. In the this year Disney Plus The Right Stuff is a big character in the movie The Right Stuff, and it's all about kind of like the tension between test pilots like him and the Mercury astronauts who got all the attention for, in his opinion, doing a lot less work. So, after he died, NPR did a lot of coverage, and some of our longtime science reporters who covered the space program were tweeting, and I saw this and I didn't know about it. Who covered Space for us forever was tweeting that when NPR covered the very first space shuttle landing, we booked Chuck Yeager as the, we call it the expert who sits with the anchors, and he and a couple of Neil Conan, who was the number inches. And then our research department dug up the clip for it, and I want to play it because there's this amazing moment that happens. He's sitting there with Neil Conan and Ira Flata, who are like iconic NPR science reporters, right? Who know what they were talking about. But listen to what happens as the space shuttle starts to land on Edwards Air Force Base, which is, of course, the spot where Chuck Yeager had spent years being an iconic pilot.
Here she comes. Going down. He's starting to level off his flare now.
So this is Ira doing the play-by-play. And then Chuck Yeager just takes it over. He's like,
Flaring at about 220. There comes the landing gear. Landing gear's down.
And you can hear the NPR reporters trying to get in word edgewise. But Chuck Yeager just dominates them, and he does the play-by-play the whole rest of the land.
There's the first a beautiful touchdown. Beautiful. Nose up. Everybody is so enthused.
Wow. That I love. He's just like, all right, guys, I got this.
It kind of reminds me of like sports broadcasting, and like if you tried to, just kind of hop into like there's a play-by-play guy and a color analyst, and the color guy is supposed to play guy kind of, nudges him for some information, and it's like a color analyst just taking over like the plays of the game.
And so he just kind of took it over, but that's because he knew what he was, he knew what he was doing. He had first-hand experience.
Way more than anybody else.
So you can just do it. You can jump on and just do it.
I loved it, and they also posted time off my stupidity crashing the Mercury astronauts, which fits exactly with the movie. All right, Aisha, what about you?
And I will give a hat tip to someone who we know very well, because she tweeted this, and this is where I got it from. It is our own Susan Davis tweeted about this study that has come out. And it says, and the headline really says it all, study buying little kids things like toys can make them happy.
Very interesting.
Was the study funded by kids? The idea is that don't try to get a kid an experience like Disney World or something like that. Just give them a toy because their memories aren't that great. So the toy they'll have, the memory they don't, which I've been going through this with my kids because I took them when they were younger to Disney World with two of them, because one of them I was pregnant with at the time, and they don't remember it.
Right. It kind of goes to the idea of like wrapping every little thing that you get them, because the joy that and the anticipation that you see, even from like something that's like $2, that they're like furiously unwrapping, as opposed to like putting it all in one box. Sort of, I feel like there's like an accumulation of joy with every little unwrapping. I know that's how Scott feels.
I mean, I think that's such a good point, though, because, like, listeners have heard me talk about the time Sesame Street came to NPR 600 times, right? So, my son, I took him, he was way too little to have any idea what was going on. But now he's into it, and I'm, well, why? What? No, but, like, Aisha, you were there with your kids, and, like, you sat in a place where, like, you appear on the screen, and you can be like, you could prove it to your kids that they were there.
Yeah, and, and I think they think that those puppets are just like actor artists all the time. They think they think that.
What a great thing to think.
So they always want to go to NPR because they have very good memories of NPR. But yeah, you know, I mean, they also, so I mean, that's the good thing about that. But I don't know if Elise, the youngest, he was most into it. And he was talking to the puppets and they were talking back in baby talk. She's the one who I don't think will remember it, but she was so into it. But we have video, so, and they do say if you have video, you can show it to the kids and that will help them.
I mean, I think maybe as you get older, like experiences mean more. Because if anyone's buying me an experience, I'm happy to take that on. That'd be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
Zip lining, you know, whatever.
And it all ties together. We brought it all back together.
I think that's truly a wrap for today.
Hey, I see what you did there. Was that on purpose? You get it?
Everything's in a box.
All tied together.
Our executive producer is Shirley Henry. Our editors are Methani Matei and Eric Daniel. Our producers, Barton Girdwood, Chloe Weiner. Thank you to Lexi Capital, Elena Moore, Dana Farrington, and Brandon Carter. Our intern, Kalyani Saxena. It is her last week with us. She has done an amazing job at this class. This was a remote internship because of, 2020. That is a hard place to leave
It's
your
a
mark.
hard thing to do. What a great job.
But Kalyani made her mark, helping on deadline, helping with the podcast, helping with everything else. And thank you so much for all the work you did this semester. I'm Scott Detrow. I cover the Biden transition.
I'm Aisha Roscoe. I cover the White House.
And I'm Domenico Montanaro, senior political editor.
TV NPR Politics.
Free shipping's great. Free shipping no minimum. That's that Walmart Plus magic for your holiday. Get all your last-minute shopping done with free next-day or 2-day shipping on a huge selection of eligible items from Warmup. The freedom to click that order button to your heart's content. Just another added benefit to your membership. Maybe that's right. 15-day free trial today at walmart.com/plus. See membership details. Restrictions apply. Today we're talking about episodes 5 and 6 of the new season of On Display. It's about Beth Titus, who was convicted of the 1990 murders of Doug Estes and Jim Bennett 12 years after the Douglas homicide in 2002. Titus is currently incarcerated in Michigan and has always maintained his innocence. If you haven't listened to these episodes of Undisclosed, we're going to be talking about them. So go back and listen, and then come back and listen to this conversation. Joining me today is Susan Simpson, co-host of Undisclosed and lead investigator on the Undisclosed team for this case. Hey, Susan, how are you? Hey, Becca. I'm doing good. Also with us, Jacinda Davis and Kevin Fitzpatrick of Red Marble Media. Of course, that is the production company behind Killer in Question, which also looked at the Titus case. Hey, Jacinda. Hey, Rebecca. How are you? Good. Hi, Kevin. How are you?
I'm good, thanks.
Were you surprised by the question we got a couple weeks ago about whether or not you and I are married, Kevin?
I think surprise isn't the word, Rebecca. I think flattered is the word.
Oh.
I think you're connected with someone of your stature. So I'm going to take it as a compliment. You may not take it as a compliment.
No. It's fine. You seem great. So I'm cool with it. All right. So let's get started. I mean, I do want to talk a little bit about one thing before we get into it. Susan, I understand there's some big updates in the Dennis Perry case, right?
Well, I don't know if I'd call it a big update, but there is an update. As I'm sure he's listened to this remember, Dennis has told me he's been free for several months, and technically, he's waiting now to see if he's going to be retried, or possibly have the decision appealed, because the prosecutor's office has, they're not quite convinced of it. Although, side note, recent election, Jackie Johnson, the DA, was voted out of office, so that could also bring changes ahead. But point being, the investigation from GBI is ongoing. They're looking into Eric Spar, whose mitochondrial DNA profile matched the one that was obtained from the Galaxy Science case. So, a few weeks ago, there was a new investigative step that was done, and they actually exhumed Harold Swain's body. The purpose of this was to take blood from his hands and take the DNA. Now, I guess the good news here is that the family of the victim had consented to this. This is not something they wasn't just raised at him. But when I saw this update, I was fairly alarmed because it's a strange decision from the make. And also, the odds of getting actual forensic evidence are nil. I mean, I'd love to be wrong. I would love to think that this could somehow, confirm Dan's innocence, solve the case and all that. But no, really, it's just real gross. And I can't. No, I do understand why they're doing it because they want to show, or at least give the appearance of having done everything they possibly could do to solve the case. But that's all it is, it's an appearance. Like, this is not something you do when you actually want to solve the case, or you're actually thinking and doing evidence. It's just to make sure that you can't say you did everything you could from their clear back home.
Isn't it? I mean, to me, it's kind of unusual for law enforcement to be taking this step. Every time I've heard about an exhumation in a case like this, it's very often either the family, like the victim's family, who feels like there are new answers that could be found, or some other party usually is the one to sort of initiate the exhumation. Because my understanding, I've actually reported on a couple of cases where there were exhumations, including the Danny Paquette case, is that you're right. It usually leads to nil, right?
I've seen mixed cases where the prosecutor, or at least the police, are seeking exhumation. Although typically, you're right, in such cold cases or an old victims, it's usually the offensive doing it. But if they're looking for evidence in terms of, say, an autopsy was never done, in cases like that, it makes sense. Like, if something, fell through the cracks and, they've never even tested a body for any kind of... Okay, they're fine. Maybe something's going to be there. But in this case, I have never heard of touch DNA, which is what this would be obtained from a victim's hands this many years on. And keep in mind, he was prepared for burial. He was, all
embalmed,
of that.
Probably, right?
Yes. What they should have done is get clippings right after this crime happened. That would be real good evidence. That you could still test. That has a decent chance of still holding up. This is just theater.
Yeah.
And really morbid theater at that.
Yeah. There's no chance that a coroner or an undertaker wouldn't have completely washed the body. That's part of the embalming process. It reminds me, Susan, of I don't know if you heard about this, but probably about a year ago, public pressure in the Maryland market so exasperated the DA's not the DA, so exasperated the AG's office here that they decided to go dig up this basement that fans had been saying must have been buried. They knew they weren't going to find anything, but they did it anyway because they just needed to say, we did this. That's my take on the
I've not followed that case closely, but
it's a public case. It's they must be getting phone calls, letters. I mean, it was on your podcast. It's been featured elsewhere.
Is anyone calling for this? I don't missed it, but as far as I'm aware, there's no one out there in the universe who's you know what, let's do it Harold's To me, I am very skeptical that they are seriously investigating Eric Spar, and they're PVA I know they're talking to people. I hear it goes back. They are out there. But as far as the DA's office goes, it doesn't seem like they're interested in Eric Spar. They're interested in either getting Dennis Perry back in prison or finding a case with everything you want. You're going to have regular DNA that would uniquely match Eric Spar and Eric Spar alone. And since we know Harold Swain and
to put that in. You ask somebody to trade, the death penalty for that kind of agreement. You talk about holding a gun to someone's head.
Right. I think one of the things that often gets underestimated is, I don't know if this is true for you, Susan, but it's certainly true in my experience. Prosecutors are some of the most competitive personalities I have ever encountered.
There seems to be this, a lot of prosecutors seem to focus on the win. And to them, their job is to protect wins once they've been achieved. And there really isn't that expressed concern like, oh gosh, they're innocent. That's not the first thought that comes to mind about Husky. Like, nope, we got a valid win here. We're going to protect it.
There's also the concept that if somebody says that they got this one wrong, how many other ones is that going to open up doors? And if you turn on one conviction and it gets overturned and so you admit that you got the wrong person, it opens the door to how many other cases that people say, oh, they got this one wrong, why didn't you look at this one? Suddenly you're spending years of your time justifying convictions that you already got.
Or hope to get in the future in this case. It's worth noting that there is an upcoming trial to Eric Sparr's first wife, the one who identified him as the killer of the son. She died, was murdered in her home under strange circumstances. Case went unsolved for several years. They finally, supposedly, got the guy who did it, and he's here for trial. But there are a lot of questions about how exactly they solved the murder. And that's why Joe Bundy was the guy who made the rest of this case too. And apparently, I mean, we'll wait to have the trial, but Eric Sparr was in the area at the time of the case, which is why this case is not just like explained and there's Harry, but also that I can play.
I hope he has a good lawyer. Do you know if he does?
I wish I could have talked to him, but I know that over the AJC they want to talk to him too, but because of the pending trial, I can't. But I know that they're aware of it's something to watch out for sure.
Okay. Well, keep us updated, all right? So this is a really interesting case, and a lot of people care a lot about it. I saw all the articles and all of the sort of developments here. I've been following it closely, so keep us in the loop, okay?
I agree.
Free shipping is great. Free shipping, no minimum? That's that Warmup Plus magic for your holiday. Get all your last-minute shopping done. 2-day shipping on a huge selection of eligible items from Walmart.com. With no order minimum, free shipping means the freedom to click that order button to your heart's content. Just another added benefit to your membership. Maybe that's why. 15-day free trial today at Walmart.com/plus. See membership details, restrictions apply.
All right, let's move on to the Jeff Harris case. To start off, Jacinda, can you give us a summary of the cold case team's, in my opinion, insane theory of how Jeff committed this crime?
Sure. So the cold case team thinks that Jeff was, they can see that he was hunting at the Shepherd's Farm 27 miles away from his property. At about 4 o'clock, he would stand split up to go to the hunting spots. Soon after, Jeff becomes so consumed with the thought that somebody might be on his property, hunting on his property, getting too close to his property, that he picks up and leaves and drives home. Once he gets there, he finds Doug Estes on his land, who they theorize has tracked a deer onto Jeff's property. Jeff confronts him, somehow disarms him, walks him into the Fulton State game area at gunpoint, where he runs into Jim Bennett and has to shoot both of them. He then goes back onto his property, grabs the deer, throws it in his truck, and drives back to the Shepherd's Farm, where he meets Stan and says he, shot the deer at the Shepherd's and says goodbye to the Shepherd's and then drives back home.
There are a lot of problems with this theory. I will not get into what I think the problems are. I think it's a little complete bananas. Can't make things wrong. Susan, what is the first problem with this theory as you see?
Well, the very first problem with all of this is just the idea that Jeff would be hunting right before dusk, and the deer are most likely to be there. No,
Good point. Good point.
which is like not proof of anything, but also to me it's like, of course he wouldn't do that. Jeff is not going to leave when a deer is coming out. But the whole, so it's also worth noting too that the cold case theory isn't exactly what they argue at trial. At trial, they do seem to acknowledge this big problem with the deer. It's sort of sidestep what's happening there a little bit, because this deer thing is a problem because there are 2 shots fired at the deer. No one heard 3 shots. So is they went to how the Justice was going to shoot this deer on Price's land nearby when there was no shot that could have been the deer.
Right.
And there's a lot of innuendo at the trial, like, oh, look at this deer, he must have got it somehow. He must have like stolen it, or the positive for him is that like if Jeff did shoot this deer, when did that happen? Like he has like the tiniest of margins with red here, and to also have killed a deer doing all that. I mean, Jeff's a good hunter, but not that good. And then you mentioned on episode 5 this issue about the deer being unbedded, which for the prosecutor, the court case seems more proof that Jeff is a murderer because he somehow didn't do things the right way and him not getting the deer. Well, after that episode, I've heard from hunters all over the U.S. and apparently a lot of y'all ain't getting deer.
Yeah, not in the woods. I never see that here. I always see people throwing a whole deer in the back of their truck. I mean, my take on this is really simple. Is that like he wants to do it with his buddy? Like they're gonna bring it home and do it. That's like part of the activity, right? After dark, that's when you go home and you take care of that. But yeah, I'll tell you, I see it all the time. I walk in the woods, people hunting deer all the time. I saw a guy just like a couple weeks ago with dragging over his shoulders into the path, dragging this like big deer, and just like lobbing it into the back of his truck.
The thing is, like, Jeff, not every hunter gets their deer with it, but Jeff normally did. It was out of character for him not to do this. So that's what we're focusing on. Not really whether or not one does that, but that Jeff normally would have done that.
And for him, he's like, yes, I usually would have, but it was cold and dark, and I wanted to go.
Yeah. I have a question though. Is this do you know if there was like a limit, like a shooting limit on how many deer you can do in a given season?
There is, I tried to get more of that in the show. Jeff was he was the benefit of block permits, which is, he could shoot all he wanted, basically.
Right.
He could do what he wanted. So he had no limits, but it was the first year of the season. And his rationale for not getting it is like, one, like it was just late and cold. Like, yes, do it somewhere warmer and gone. And two, he hadn't gotten the deer yet, so he hadn't been able to do the very legal method of just happen to gut a deer and you buy where you trap, which just happens to bring foxes close around.
Right.
So this was kind of a birds with one stone to him.
Kevin, what do you think of this theory of the case?
Well, the thing that always resonates in my mind is when we talk to one of the original detectives, who's Latino, and he lays out the time. He says something that stands with me to this day, where he says, it's possible, but not possible. Right? You look at the timeline, and I keep saying to myself, and I think I said this to Jacinda when we were sort of first doing the interview a year ago, is, I mean, technically you can make the argument that this crime was committed this way. Like the timeline works in the theory that mathematically it can work. They wouldn't present it that mathematically it couldn't work, right? But everything has to go completely perfect. Like you have to, change what he traditionally does about like you're just a deer. And you can make the argument, but I can make a seemingly logical argument for everything. It doesn't mean that that's what happens. I mean, so many things that there's no margin for error, and you have to believe everything that they say as breaking from tradition still happens. And that's what becomes so difficult. So Racino will say, yeah, it's possible, but not probable. I don't know exactly what he's thinking, and it seems very unlikely. It's like winning the lottery type of unlikely.
Right.
And also impossible in terms of the action force. Like, it just doesn't make sense from like a logistical point of view. It's not just lucky when it happens this way. It's like a lot of weird things happen. And there's certain people who just happen to possibly thread this meat.
Right. And the idea that he would shoot a deer as a cover-up is insane. Because it is impossible to shoot a deer on command. Like that is not a thing that happens.
Right. And then I think it was, the suggestion in the podcast was that if he said it that his mind is just working a mile a minute at that time, he's almost manic. Like if somebody else shot it, if Esther shot it. It's just all, it starts to move into one of those action movie scenes from a Hollywood movie where you're like, okay, well, I guess they could have outrun my father. So we could have seen something, but I mean, it's possible.
You know, I really wish that the Cold Case team had let me use their interviews for the podcast because one, I think it would help to give a more fleshed out view of what they actually think. Just because of different times, let's just y'all can have food. But there's nothing more here. There's not some like explanation that's not being shown that would make this story make sense. There's nothing that they have said that like somehow makes more sense than what we're hearing.
It was the one thing that bugged me when I first started researching this case, and it still bugs me, you know, that no one can, the idea that Jeff, everyone knows Jeff loves to hunt. He lives to hunt. And the idea that he would just pick up, you know, shortly after 4 o'clock, like Susan said, but just when it's becoming prime time to find the deer, that he would pick up and leave. That's never made sense to me. And no one has ever been able to offer, and that just doesn't ring true to me as reason enough to get Jeff out of his hunting spot to go check out his property. And the ultimate hunting spot, he shot a deer very quickly and thought, okay, I got a deer, I don't need another one. Stan still has a couple hours left.
See, the problem is though, Jeff would never have the thought, I don't need another one.
Right. That's what I was thinking. Is that maybe that's why he threw it. I mean, if he, one of the things I was wondering was like if he could shoot more than one, maybe he got one right away, threw it in his truck.